This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened. We begin on March 4th, 1988, in Little Bern, Georgia. A quiet community that's always given Wendy Fisher and her family a sense of security.
It was a school day. It was a Friday afternoon. Tristan and Angie had gone upstairs and changed and everything, and they were going out to ride the go-kart. Okay, girls, have a good time and be careful. Okay. Bye. Bye-bye. The girls had wanted a go-kart for a while, so my parents got them the go-kart. It was kind of the thing that year. There were a lot of kids in the neighborhood that had gotten go-karts. And since our neighborhood just has one entrance into it, there's not always a lot of traffic. They always had to wear helmets, and they had a little flag that stuck on the back. You know, it would be up pretty high so that cars could see them.
Pam Williams and a friend were at a nearby tennis court.
As we were playing tennis, we noticed the go-kart in the woods. They were darting back and forth, and they came into our field of vision several different times while we were playing.
Trista was showing me where this dirt hill was, where we were going to jump over it. But I was real scared to go over that hill because I was afraid that I would fall off the go-kart. So Trista said, okay, I'll do it by myself. You know, I felt real stupid being by myself, and I wanted to be, if she was going to do it, I was going to do it. So I got on it.
When we continue.
I felt that if we moved her, she'd probably die. I also felt that if we didn't move her, she would die.
She's not breathing.
When a pickup truck slammed into a go-kart carrying 11-year-old Trista Fisher and her friend Angie, a neighbor heard the crash and immediately called for help.
12, mid 12, signal 41 on, involving a go-kart, 111.
The call to 911 sent rescue units from the Gwinnett County Fire Department to the scene. Neighbor Bob Burns drove over to see if anyone had been hurt.
When I could make it out that it was a go-kart, then I put two and two together, and I figured out that it was Trista.
I didn't see him. I thought I missed him.
The first thing I did was I took her pulse, and I couldn't find a pulse in her arm.
There's a little pulse there.
Then I looked to see if she was breathing, and she wasn't breathing. So then I took note of my wristwatch, because I knew that if she wasn't breathing, we had about 4 minutes that we had to make sure she got oxygen within that period of time.
Pam and her tennis partner, who was a nurse, ran to help.
She has no pulse.
Angie was trapped behind Trista, and Angie was conscious, and she was very frightened, a little bit panicky probably, and she was trying to get Trista off of her.
Linda Anderson recognized Trista because she knew the girl's mother.
Are you all right?
Her neck was flopped forward, similar to a doll whose head is broken.
No, she's not breathing. We may have to move the truck.
I am an RN, and there was another RN on the scene. We debated about whether to move Trista at all, knowing that the #1 rule is don't move a victim. But the bottom line was Trista was not breathing.
So still watching my watch, it got to be about 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And I'm thinking, well, you know, if we've got to do something, we've got to start it now.
It was cutting into her neck.
At that point in time, I talked to the driver of the truck again, and I said, we're going to have to back up this truck. And I said, you back it up very carefully and make sure you don't go forward. And when you back it up, I'm going to try and lift the bumper a little bit just to clear the helmet that Trista had on to make sure that the bumper doesn't drag her head back. Okay. Okay, go back. Lift, guys. Come on, lift it up. Lift it up. Back a little more.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, that's good. I went back to Trista, and I picked up Trista's head. It was laying over. I picked it up straight, and I said, we're going to hold this head straight, and we're going to make sure that there's no tension or pressure on her spine, because I'm afraid that there's a neck injury. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Easy.
Be careful. Okay. Got it.
I felt that if we moved her, she'd probably die. I also felt that if we didn't move her, she would die. I just didn't feel that we could stand there and watch the little girl die without giving her every opportunity to live, even as slim as that opportunity might seem to be.
Do you see her chest moving?
Yeah,
We're getting some movement here now.
I prepared myself to do cardiac massage, thinking that her heart might stop as well. The strength of her heartbeat was fading quickly.
The accident had occurred just a block and a half from Trista's house. Her mother, Wendy, got there within minutes.
Okay, Mom's here.
Her color was just kind of a grayish color, and I was just kind of at her head end, and I was just saying, you know, this is Mom, you're going to be okay.
Mommy's right here.
It was just a real hard, you know, to go through.
When the first rescue units arrived, paramedic Greg Long took charge at the scene.
We were assuming the worst as we were en route to the call.
What happened across the street? I didn't see her. I didn't know I hit her.
It was relief to have them take over. It just was becoming so clear that we were in a really tragic situation, and we were so afraid of her dying.
I need some cricoid pressure right here. Push down just a second.
Trista wasn't moving a lot of air. She was breathing about 9 times a minute, which was not good for a child her age. She wasn't breathing enough.
Somebody got a stethoscope?
So we opened her airway, and at that point I elected to put an endotracheal tube and began to breathe for her. Started a hyperventilator, really.
What's the ETA on life flight? 15 minutes. Okay.
In Trista's case, it was a little odd because normally everybody we ever pick up gets a cervical collar. Well, for some reason, a little voice that was inside me said, don't put a cervical collar on this patient. And I usually go with the little voice. I've been a paramedic for 13 years, and I've learned to rely on it.
A life flight helicopter transported Trista the 17 miles to Eggleston Children's Hospital.
I wasn't able to ride in the helicopter with her, and I had no idea where Eggleston Hospital was, and it seemed to take forever to get there, which is about maybe 30 minutes from here, but it seemed like eternity getting there.
The hospital had already been alerted. A trauma team was waiting to examine Trista the moment she arrived.
She's intubated. She's fine.
Orthopedic surgeon Thomas Whitesize was also called in.
The situation that Trista was in was extremely precarious. She was near death.
Small.
An x-ray of her neck showed that her head had been pulled loose from her neck.
She was given a bone graft in her neck and put in a halo cast to give it a chance to heal.
They couldn't tell us, you know, how she would be or anything because he had never seen anybody survive an injury like this.
For Trista's father, the accident was also devastating.
You look for the best you can out of the situation. We were informed that she didn't have any movement on her left side and that she would be paralyzed on the left side. She's going to survive. That's certainly the good news. Now you progress from there. The next area, of course, is what's going to happen to her quality of life.
2.5 years have passed.
Trista has come a long way since the accident occurred. She's progressing, of course, much better than the initial prognosis indicated, the fact that she would be paralyzed if she made it through. And to see her walking around now, laughing and riding her bicycle, and it's a miracle. She's a miracle child.
She still attends special therapy sessions to improve both her vision and speech.
I was really determined because before my accident, I was always like real active and stuff, and I didn't want to like be sitting around after my accident just doing nothing. So I was determined to be like I used to be. My goal is to keep improving until I'm satisfied.
Trista is a survivor. She's always a doer. So I think the same energy that got her into the trouble in the beginning was also what was going to pull her through. And I believe that throughout the whole ordeal, that she is a survivor.
She was our little miracle. Anybody that doesn't believe in miracles, there's one walking around in Gwinnett County today.
Next.
It was very heavy traffic for that time of day, and it's very fast. I remember seeing a deer run across the freeway.
As random suburban sprawl spreads rapidly into the last open areas around San Diego, California, the wildlife is left with no place to go. Wild animals are forced into a tragic conflict with man that they cannot win, as a group of motorists found out on one spring morning. Some of the footage in this story was taped as events unfolded on May 19th, 1991. Heading south on Highway 805 was off-duty Sheriff's Deputy Lisa DeMeo.
It was late Sunday morning, very heavy traffic for that time of day, and it's very fast. I remember seeing a deer run across the freeway towards the median, and it was struck by a car that was next to me. It just happened so quickly. The car kept going, and I started calling for help in my police radio.
Lisa's call came into the San Diego Sheriff's Communications Center.
Advice KT, a large deer was just struck southbound I-805. It's still alive.
Or is it going to need to be dispatched, or can Fish and Game save it, do you know?
No, it's on its back. I can't tell. I don't know about this stuff.
But the nearest Fish and Game officer was more than an hour away. Gene Chaffin was also driving south on 805.
From my truck, I could see traffic divert around an object in the road. But as I got closer, I realized it was a deer in the road. And so I put on the flashers and managed to stay in front of the animal so I would block traffic.
Two other drivers, Steve Montgomery and Roger Lamberson, also stopped to help.
I got traffic stopped in the two slow lanes, and the three gentlemen who stopped picked her up, got her off to the shoulder, far off the shoulder, as far away from traffic as possible.
The main thing was supporting her weight and keeping out of the line of fire of the legs, because the hooves are very strong and, you know, someone could have been pretty badly damaged.
Got her, you okay? Yep.
The front right leg was shattered. The deer was suffering badly. I mean, you could see it was frothing at the mouth, screaming, and the scream just drove you nuts. It was in just such terrible pain. I was raised in a country atmosphere on a farm, so I think I know at what point an animal can be saved and can't be saved, and you just knew that, you know, she couldn't be repaired. It just wasn't one of those deals where you just fix the animal's leg and she goes on her merry way.
Among the California Highway patrolmen who responded was Officer Gregory Mullendore.
The deer was in real bad shape, and it was very apparent that it wasn't just a simple break. There was bare bone there, and there was muscle tissue, and it was high up on the animal's leg. And certainly the only humane thing to do would be to put the animal out of its misery.
I'll do it.
Okay. As soon as she calms down.
And it was over. He just a pop, and it was over.
I don't mind telling you that I didn't feel real good at that point. I just simply got up and walked away about 15 feet and stood there.
It was upsetting, period. And I was glad that it was over, but it was the right thing to do. So I hope that he doesn't lose any sleep over it because he did the right thing.
At that point, the deer's stomach started to actually kick. And I mean, it was visible, it started moving.
You're not gonna believe this, but she's pregnant.
Suddenly the focus shifted to the possibility that might be a living creature inside her, and what can we do about this?
I knew that it was a matter of minutes before that fawn died of oxygen deprivation. So I ran to my truck, and in my tool pouch, I keep a utility knife, and it didn't take all that long to cut her open and get the little fawn out. It was in the birth sac, so to speak, and so I had to rip that open to get to it. And I noticed that its heartbeat was fine. In fact, it was really rapid, but it wasn't breathing at all.
Any kind of rag?
I took my fingers and just got some of the mucus away from its mouth, and I had to do a kind of a mouth-to-snout resuscitation, get a few breaths into it to see if it would come around.
Oh, fuck, this ain't a few days to be born, man. Come on, babe. Come on, babe. Come on, guy. Come on, guy. Come on, I see that look at this. Come on. Come on. He's tough. He's breathing. He's breathing. All right.
When it took its first breath after reviving, that was a great feeling. It was like, yeah, it was a great feeling. I mean, I thought, wow, we saved one. That was a once-in-a-lifetime uplifting feeling. It was a hot day, and I was concerned about dehydration. So the first thing we tried was the water. It wouldn't take any water. We even tried to get it to suckle the mother, and it wouldn't do that.
There you go. There you go.
So we managed to squeeze some milk in the little bottle cap, and we managed to get what we felt was a little bit of milk down the fawn's throat.
There you go.
Oh yeah, she's swallowing it.
Yeah.
She's swallowing it. She is swallowing it.
Maybe a few minutes later, it let out a little squeak, its first sound, and I've never heard a newborn fawn squeak, and it was beautiful. It was like a baby's first cry.
It's beautiful.
That's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
Come on, Freeway.
Freeway.
Someone volunteered the name Freeway. We all kind of chuckled over that one, but it stuck right at that moment.
Hey, he's ready.
Ready to listen.
He's ready. Let me out of here.
Look at that. She wants to get up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she does.
She wanted to get up, she wanted to walk, she wanted to stretch out.
What a face.
What a face.
Freeway.
Welcome to the world.
Freeway, the newborn fawn, was taken to a nearby exotic animal hospital and examined by Dr. Jeff Jenkins.
We cleaned the fawn up and cleaned and sterilized its umbilical cord. We then allowed Gene, since he was the foster father, to cut the umbilical cord, and which he did. Both Gene and Lisa had become very attached to the little fawn. They both were glowing with the whole idea that this little fawn had survived. The smiles would go ear to ear on these two as we worked on the deer, and it did better and better, the little fawn.
The next day, Freeway was moved to the home of Wildlife Center volunteer Mary Faust.
Freeway drinks goat's milk. We heat it up and feed her every 2 hours. She's very healthy, very active, loves to run and play in the yard. She's just doing super.
I think Jean did something remarkable out there, something beyond what most people would have done. To me, he's a hero.
When I see her, I think, wow, she's lucked out. It's incredible she's alive, and I hope that, you know, she can go free again, but even if she ends up in captivity because she's too imprinted to people, I think it's a win for her, and it's a good feeling to see her nowadays.
We can mix wildlife and people if we do it right, and not just blindly draw our straight lines on paper. If we have little corridors of habitat that we leave them undisturbed, don't develop them, and it allows animals to pass through underneath the freeways and go east to the more open terrain, there's no reason not to.
This whole experience with this deer was probably the most rewarding thing I've ever done. Something like that only happens to you once in your lifetime. It'll probably never happen to me again. So it was definitely a wonderful experience.
There's going to be a point where she has to go, and we're going to miss her. She's a real sweetheart.
Step out of the car, please.